Welcome to the Curiosity and Connection podcast. Today, we're going to continue on with the FIFA 2026 special series. And we're going to venture into Brazilian territory, but also from a female lens. I'd like you to meet my two mom friends, Juliana and Anna. Okay, let's start it off with Juliana. Where are you from in Brazil?
Well, I'm originally from city out just outside from Sao Paulo city,
Yeah,
called São Bernardo.
yeah.
It's actually a city between São Paulo city and Santos.
And you
Two
live,
big cities with a lot of football culture.
yeah. You pretty much grew up
Yeah.
with Brazilian football culture, because Brazilian football culture is pretty like international. Like for as long as, even though I'm not a big football fan, they were always in the World Cup, right? Are they in the World Cup this year?
Yeah, they are in the World Cup. Actually, Brazil, interest fact, Brazil is the only team that's been in all the World Cups
Oh
since
wow!
their actual start. Yeah, I think that's the only country that made all the World Cups in FIFA.
Anna, where are you from in Brazil?
I'm from Rio, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
de Janeiro, the city. Yes, wow, it's super connected with football because of Maracanã, with the stadium, right? Maracanã. I know it was built a long time ago. It's a huge in 1950 something like that. Yeah. It's a very famous, I could say, and a touristic attraction.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna see the Christ Redeemer. You're gonna go to the Sugarloaf, and you're gonna go to Maracanã.
Okay, let's start off with you,
Yeah.
Anna. Because Brazilian football culture is so big, like how were you exposed to it and at what age?
Yes, we are exposed very very early. I think when my mom was pregnant, like she was already like thinking.
But in the Brazilian, there's more than one major team, right? Like,
That
is there a Rio team and then there's a Sao Paulo team?
there is a lot of teams. They usually my mom was like Fluminense, my daddy was Vasco. Vasco is another team, two different teams, big teams, big clubs in
Yeah.
Rio.
And did you adopt it like are their parents' team or you chose your own?
We choose one when we are big, but when we are little, like was chosen, right? They chose to us, and then. Well, yes, when I grew up, I decided to be my mom's team, which
Okay.
is Fluminense.
I know I interviewed other guests and they said a lot of their countries, it was predominantly boys and men that were exposed to football culture. They didn't see women or girls soccer or football until like more so now. Was that part of the Brazilian culture when you were growing up that girls were playing on the streets or whether in leagues? Like, are you, in
Yes.
terms of sibling, are you like the only girl or do you?
No, no. We are four girls.
Yeah.
And yes, the soccer wasn't that popular the way it is nowadays. I think after
For
the
girls or just for?
girls, yes. After the 2000, then became more popular.
You never played it? Like your dad or your mom never exposed you?
In a league, like you said, no,
Like street ball?
but it's street ball or if we're with our friends, our family, we're always watching. We're always like cheering and family gathering with grandma, with the uncles and mamas and aunts as a family, but not for playing. Yeah, that's changing.
When you were exposed to it,
I
when you were playing with it, did you enjoy it or did you not?
Not too much. Not me. My two of my sisters they enjoyed more.
Yeah.
And but nowadays it's like
Yeah.
more popular.
Yeah, I see your daughter playing
My
like.
daughter plays, yeah, much more exposure than us, for
Yeah.
sure.
What about you, Juliana? What about your parents' team? Like, did they have shared team and then you kind of adopted that, or were you like Anna, where they had two separate teams they prefer?
Yeah, I grew up around like a soccer. We have like soccer, like around soccer football. I'm just like used to say football. Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was North American, South American, but I had interviewed a friend who was from Peru. And he's like, no, soccer is specifically a term we use in North America.
Yeah.
As in Peru, he says like we say football.
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You play with your food. That's like why we just call that. Yeah. And even in Portuguese, the football, it's like
Oh,
translating is like a very cool, like a word
Yeah.
to football. But yeah, yeah, just like I grew up like this in that environment, like a football was always there.
Yeah.
And my mom, she's not very into. If you ask my mom which team she supports, she's gonna say Brazil. She doesn't really have like a specific team. My dad, I think we have like on the teams, for example, Anna mentioned about Rio.
Yeah.
And we have like a different leagues in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
We have like the Brazil League, we have like the state league. We have different teams, and each state has their own teams, bigs and smaller. Usually, like Sao Paulo and Rio are like well known, like the biggest teams in the country.
Are they always like the two main rival teams?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would be. I think yeah, a little bit Minas and Porto Alegre. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it could be, but like mostly Rio and Sao Paulo.
Mm.
Yeah, and but yeah, like I think my dad he was more old school, and I think like the old school, he used to support Santos, and the Santos was like the very first like a well known team because Pelé used to play for Santos, like he started Santos now, like a more recently Neymar starts with Santos. Yeah, Santos is a team well known to kind of launch like these big players
Yes.
before they actually move to Europe and be like a worldwide like
Yeah.
famous players. Yeah, my dad like always support like Santos. He always enjoy but Santos team it's like a little lately it's not like so big, and especially in my childhood as I grew, I just understand. Oh no, Santos is not as good. I think I'm going to support another one. And my sister started support São Paulo because there is a team that calls São Paulo,
Yeah.
and I started support Palmeiras.
Okay.
And Palmeiras is pretty much like each team has like some history. For example, Palmeiras comes from like the Italian community
Yeah.
in São Paulo that they actually started the team. Always has like a historical behind like each club.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it was fun. And
Did you get exposed to playing on the streets like Anna or
yeah, like on the streets, I think we always like grew up in the streets, like playing the boys, but I think it's different. We kind of have like this culture that it's like no, it's a boys sport.
Mm.
I got exposure at school as well, but like at school they have their thing. I know got exposure to all the sports, right? But like the girls always got like more interest in volleyball, handball,
Yeah.
other but like sports, gymnastics, not like a really football.
Yeah.
And then, but I see, like, as Anna mentioned, I think after 2000, we see it's growing, especially like, in Sao Paulo now, they have, it's actually new, like a couple years ago, they started like a woman league
Okay.
for the Sao Paulo clubs. I'm not sure if for real, I think Rio has too. But it's, yeah, I think slowly, I think they are breaking like that taboo, about
That's
the woman.
boys
And
and men.
yeah, yeah. And and it's interesting to see like it's growing a lot now.
And before we go back to Anna, like, did you ever attend one of those stadium games? Like, did your parents ever take you to one of the stadium games?
Not a big games. This is a quite thing. Like there is a bit of fear, especially like some kids. It depends the games.
Okay.
People in Brazil, they take it very serious.
Yes.
Yeah, like the supporters can be a bit aggressive, and very like the games can be very intense.
Yeah.
For you to go to the stadium and watch, we always like the parents be like more mindful to take the kids,
Yeah.
and especially when we are talking about like a Rio and São Paulo. I think are like usually we always take place like really big games
Yes.
in the country, and we should have like a massive like supporters. And you don't wanna see, like, a small teams, you wanna see Palmeiras and Flamengo, Corinthians and Flamengo, like, really big clubs, like, playing,
Mm.
and usually can be very intense.
Yeah.
You always kinda be more mindful.
What age did you attend one of those like games?
No, I never really attend, like,
Even as you got older, you never.
yeah, after I got older, but, like, as a kid, no, I never, like, attend. I think the only game that I actually attended, I was around 22.
Okay.
So, yeah, 22, and the actual was Palmeiras and Santos.
And how was that experience like being in the stadium? Because you've been watching it on the.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's funny because at that time, no, I don't think I was 22 actually. I think it was like even later on. I was around 25, 26 because I saw Neymar playing and he was just a little boy just starting with
Yeah.
Santos at that time. And it's very intense, but it's fun as well.
Yeah.
Like, and especially when you're young, like you enjoy, and it's different. Like the supporters, like a lot of music, a lot of it's loud. It's like fireworks and everything. Like people really take serious.
Oh, wow. What about you, Anna? Like, did you ever go to a game with your parents at a young age?
The same as you, not at the young age, although people do that. Although families, yes, some they will put their 2-year-old on their shoulders and they will go. Yeah, the most happy ones, right? The ones who love their teams, they would do that. But I think lately, with the violence, like she said, people are like more mindful and more willing to watch. Yes, exactly. Because it's a lot of emotion involved. It's a lot of emotions involved.
But at what age did you finally attend your first stadium?
I went the first age I was in university, like 19 years old. Yes, and it's awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like you feel most your seat more big, shaking, right? And yes, and it's too loud. Like people have a small little radio close to their ears.
Oh, just like hear
Because you can hear what's going on because you just see the ball.
Yeah, moving around, but you don't know if it was
And
doing
the
it.
players with the tiny little radio, you can actually listen what they're saying or
Yeah.
which kind of fault was that. But it's so intense. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, because I remember interviewing one of our neighbor. He's from Tanzania and another one from Peru, and like just the way they describe attending a Brazilian, like in Brazil, versus like a Premier League. Like as much as the English Premier football, they have their own culture and obsession. But they both said when you attend a Brazilian stadium game, it's just on a whole nother level. Like the seats are loud, people are stomping, and it's just like it's just
Yes.
it never stops from start to finish. Like the volume is just gets louder and louder.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can feel like the energize and the cultural obsession with just that game, not just like, that team, right? And I just found it interesting. I guess the next question is how through that culture of football has that shaped you? Like what did you learn about yourself? Because it was such a big part of your livelihood, like, whether it's in the foreground or, like, in, you know, always during, like, international, games, like, what we're gonna experience the next month, which is FIFA. Or even, like, FIFA when it was hosted in Brazil. How was that? Like, how did that do you know where I'm going with the question? Yeah. Like, how did you connect to yourself and the community? Like
It's interesting, this question, because we are immersed in that culture, in that situation. We don't stop. I don't stop to think about it, but because you're asking me, I have to stop. Well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right? It shape our personality, shape our way of life. Like we are very. I'm very extrovert. I'm an extrovert person,
Yeah.
and it's connected with happiness. It's connected with family. When you say community, how the community is impacted with that, it's because you never watch a soccer game or a football game alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone in a room cheering by yourself. You have your family.
Is it a big gathering? Because I
It's
know
a big
like, do you have barbecues, like, when it's, like, a major game, like, people come over, like, you
over, yeah. Oh, if it's like, of course, like a World Cup, it's gonna be more, right? You're gonna invite more your friends, or you're gonna have more a bigger gather.
Yeah.
But of course, during the year, we have, like she said, all these games, the ligas, and we still get together for those moments, and they shape our life. They shape our relationships. We grew up with a lot of family members together. Lots of fight because not all the time we share the same teams.
How do you navigate that when it becomes so intense and you don't see eye to eye in terms of, like, I don't like your team, you don't like my team, or, like
Yeah. But everything it is a joke.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a joke. I don't know any of my relatives and that they don't speak for months or years because one is one thing, the other one is other. They're gonna fight, they swear each other at that moment, but at the end, they shake hands and let's go next week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What about you, Juliana?
Oh, and just like in this and Anna, it's just I can relate it to most of the
Yeah.
things, and it's funny because as a Brazilian, we are a very family oriented like a culture. Well, I grew up like every Sunday we have like those games on. 4 o'clock.
But do you decide? How do you decide if it's at your family home as opposed to your cousins or your aunts?
I don't know. Sometimes that's like it's that's the thing. Like for our culture, it's common. Like we get together
Yeah.
every Sunday for lunch.
Yes.
Every Sunday, like no matter what. For example, when I was living back in Brazil, we used to go to my parents, meet up with my sister, and then sometimes like cousins come over. There is not really a pattern, but like it's Easter. Oh, okay, we're gonna go to someone else, like auntie or something.
Yeah.
But it's always like we have the lunch right after like culture. Everybody's gonna sit and watch the games. At least like the man, like why you gonna sit like for afternoon coffee?
Yeah.
For and a dessert, the man's gonna be sitting in the living room watching the games because then they cannot like miss the league.
Yeah.
It's a very strong like the culture, like the family. It's a very like it's connected, like
Mm.
the family gatherings with the football for us, and it's a big thing. And even like someone's pregnant, or, like the parents are like choose or like the team they support supposed to support.
Yeah.
It's some always connect with family
Yes.
overall. I It's funny because I was talking to a friend today because you mentioned about like how was the World Cup back in 2014 when Brazil hosted the World Cup. And I remember, I don't know if Hannah by that time was living here. Yeah, you're in Canada. I was still in Brazil. It was just, yeah, I know clear like a couple months before the World Cup actually started, was everybody so excited.
Yes.
People really prepare themselves like for the World Cup.
Yeah.
They paint the streets, they decorate the streets, they decorate everywhere you go, you see World Cup.
Yes.
Like green and yellow everywhere. People really get into the spirit
Yeah.
of the World Cup. I know you were just saying, like Canada, I think maybe because it's the very first time that Canada is hosting, we said, like, we are not seeing, like, where's the energy here? Like, let's go.
It's
I
funny
mean,
you said that because I was interviewing my first guest. He is a consultant for FIFA right now, but he also was part of the Qatar FIFA. And he was saying how in Toronto, because it's Toronto and Vancouver, the two primary host city, he said he was asked to attend Bring Your Parents to Work Day. And he said none of the kids, except for his son and one kid in the audience, knew that we were hosting the World Cup. It's not as big, like kind of like you said, because I think like football culture is just one aspect of the Canadian culture, whereas football culture is it's like you said, as immersed and part of the fabric of like in Brazil that you see it everywhere, no matter where you
yeah,
go.
yeah, exactly. Like, for us, it's like hockey for Canadians, it's football for us. It's just like a very like intense World Cup. It's a really big event for
Yeah.
us. Like I know it's for all the countries, it's a big event, but for us, like specifically, like we really like even like last year, people already get excited. Oh my god, next year we're gonna have a World Cup. It's a moment,
Yeah.
and also World Cup back home. It's something that it's not common here, but days that Brazil is gonna play, usually the companies shut down. Yeah, like they really shut like the companies. People take the time off or leave the work earlier. You look at the streets during the game, the Brazilian game. You don't see a single person out.
Oh my.
Everybody's there inside homes
Yeah.
and watching the games, and it is a big vibe. Like
Yeah.
the energy, it's like yeah, out of these words. I cannot even like how to describe. And
But
then
was the World Cup in Rio or Sao Paulo?
was all over the country.
Oh,
So
yes,
you have
because of the country,
yeah.
it's all yeah.
Yeah, also we had like in many cities, like Sao Paulo had the opening,
Yeah.
Rio had like the final game,
Yeah.
but they had like a games all over like Salvador, Manaus, that's the Amazon,
Yeah.
they north south like yeah, all over the
But as
countries.
someone who was living there when this was happening and you're watching, I mean, it's one thing like even in between the tournament, like say FIFA, Brazil's playing like different countries no matter what, right?
Yeah.
But when and it's such a tourist country too. In this case, when you have like such an international spotlight during that month
Mhm.
with all the tourists coming in, like how did you feel about it? Like
honestly, we were so excited. I don't know. I think Brazilians has like the feeling that no one look at us, like no one really care about us. When we said, "Oh my God, like so many, we're gonna have so many foreign people."
Yes.
I think we were worried about like not just the football, like the soccer itself, but we were just looking for like our transportation. It's gonna be
Yeah, that's what
like
we had.
good enough, like for for people just like to commute to the stadiums, like. We're gonna have like I hope we don't get like I don't know embarrassed about like our infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like even though I think that, like we great like it's more like I visit other countries. We are not bad, especially like Sao
Right.
Paulo. They are really big cities, like infrastructure, subway and everything like works fine. And I think because I have like all these humors with government, a lot of like politician issues, like a protest. It's just a couple years before, like prior the World Cup. Well, there was a lot of, oh, we're not going to be ready. We're not going to have everything
Right.
ready. The stadiums are not going to be ready. For example, Anna mentioned about the Maracanã Stadium. Maracanã Stadium used to be one of the biggest in the world. That's why it's so famous. It's
Mm.
a big landmark like for tourists like in Rio. But of course, like after all the renovations, they really like had like a major renovation
Mhm.
before the World Cup. Everybody was saying like, no, Maracanã is not going to be ready for the World Cup. And actually, it's Maracanã. It's great. I don't know if I had a chance like to visit it. I visited like a few years ago. Even like David, my husband, like came with me because he's not a Brazilian. He was very impressed with the infrastructure, everything what they have done in the stadium. They did such a great job. I think when they talk again, when talking about World Cup like football, we really take serious. Even I think the politicians really took serious like to get everything like
Right.
done in a proper like to get there first, and then not just that. I think the tourists. I think as a Brazilian, we are very good to welcome. Yeah, like a
Mhm.
welcome tourists. We always see like even for those that couldn't make like the stadiums, we had a lot of like for example, we had now like the FIFA fest that they're gonna take here in the
You have a
place
fan
in
fest.
yeah, the fan fest like in Toronto. We had a few spots and then not like in Sao Paulo and in Rio as well. And not just like the FIFA infrastructure that they
Mhm.
put together for the World Cup, but even like we had
The local movement.
yeah, the local communities, like, because many foreign people, like the tourists, that I just don't want to see what the FIFA is taking place, but I want to see,
But the local.
yeah, like how the locals would celebrate,
Yeah.
right, the event. And yeah, it was a big thing. And honestly, I met like few Canadians, like Italians, people like that's not Brazilian, and they attend like the World Cup in Brazil, and it just compliments,
Yeah.
not just for they didn't care about the infrastructure and anything, but they said like oh man, like the energy,
Yeah.
like everything. People were so excited after the games. You go celebrate.
But even when it was
Whole
done, was
spirit.
there while it's happening, or even like what I was hearing leading up to it, there was a lot of excitement, yeah, minor protests about like, are we gonna be ready?
Yeah.
But after it's done, how is the atmosphere? Was like this relief, like, okay, we've done our part. We just want our city back, our country back. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that I know like when we have like Pan Am or one of those international tournaments, as locals, we find it inconvenient because the traffic is clogged up or the infrastructure is just highly, like, busy. There's a sigh of relief, like, it's done, like, let's go back to that.
I'm gonna tell like I'm not sure like much about Rio, but like for instance, São Paulo. Uh, they supposed to build a whole subway just to attend one of the new arenas they built for the World Cup,
Yeah.
the Corinthians Arena, and didn't really get ready for the for the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think they are about to finish now, 12 years later.
Incentive to
Yeah.
start, yes.
But yeah, it was an incentive like to start. It was a big deal. But for an example, the whole construction about this arena
Yeah.
was a whole big thing because people, oh, why are we gonna build like a whole new arena just to attend
Yeah.
like the the World Cup?
Yeah.
But that makes sense for Brazil, and actually, it didn't make sense like for São Paulo to have a big new arena to attend those games
Yes.
and big events, not like just the World Cup after that. It's just like it's different. For example, if they come and let's build like a here in Toronto that's gonna support like a for capacity for 80,000 people.
Yes.
But we don't really have like a big soccer
Yes.
games here.
It all makes sense.
Would be like a waste of money, but
Right.
like for Brazil. And I think people were just happy when it was actually built for like for the like specifically for the World Cup because it was very helpful, like
Yeah.
useful for after
It
that.
benefited the
Yeah, exactly. But I think after that we the opposite. You just miss like, oh my god, now it's just back to normal. Like we have to wait for the next World Cup and see if we can get
Yeah.
or maybe get the lucky to be chosen like for host again, you know. But yeah, we had like in some capitals that happened like about the arena and the stadium. We had another capitals, other cities that they had built like the stadium. For example, I think Cuiabá, Brasília, yeah, other cities like in Brazil.
Yeah.
That it wasn't so helpful because they do have teams, but not as big,
Right.
you know. But still, I think they are just like making it like useful somehow. Maybe take place like some concerts on
Yeah.
other like just repurposing like
Yeah.
the stadiums. But yeah, but other than that, because in São Paulo was great actually.
What about you, Anna? Like when the World Cup was happening in Brazil, I know you weren't there, but you still had families. How did they experience from a Rio lens?
I think doesn't bother Brazilian people like bothers people here. But I think because you close a street, you close a line, you have to go around. You cannot go use the garden. You have to move to the for one. People get very mad, very upset.
It's a chaos no matter what.
But I think because everybody, that's the thing. Your emotion is connected to that. You don't really mind if you have to go around to move your way or not to go out.
Well, I'm hearing because football is such a part of the fabric of life there that there's a unison that even if it's inconvenient for that month's duration, w- people don't sweat it. Whereas here, it's like not everybody's for the World Cup, not everybody's interested in the World Cup. Shutting down certain streets, it is a deal inconvenience
Yeah.
for them, right?
Yes. It's more resilient or say, oh, okay, like they're like, I think picturing the result, the end, not the process, because we have to go through that in
Yes.
case to have the like she said, like to have the stadiums. And of course, it's because we host, we have so many events too
Yeah.
that we, especially in Rio, you have like News Year, that is a big party. Like, for instance, in Rio, in Copacabana Beach, they close, I don't know, 100 streets.
That's normal.
Before and you have to go walking from one bairro, like one stage, like one it's like from here to High Park or from here to Etobicoke. Let's go.
It's part of the culture of
No,
closure.
like, yeah, you
Yeah. Or even Carnival. Is Carnival in Rio or Sao Paulo?
both.
It's all over Brazil.
Country. You're gonna have to exactly. It's going to be closed for Carnival. It's going to be closed for New Year's, like Copacabana. How many people like go to the shows, the free concerts, right? 2 million people, 3 million people, like Madonna, Rolling Stones, playing on the beach, and people were happy to see that.
Yeah.
And everybody around, like we have to organize our lives.
So they accept the inconvenience. Yeah. It's just like,
Yeah, no inconvenience, and you organize your life. Like, I'm not going to Copacabana today. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Do you know, if I have to pass there, I'm not going there. Or if I have to go to the beach, am I going to Copacabana today? No, I'm not. I'm gonna go the other side of the city because of that. That's it. I think I agree with you. We don't have that much here. If you have to close a street, it's an inconvenience.
but how did your parents or even cousins or aunts and uncle, how did they experience the Rio when the World Cup was happening there?
No, everybody was so happy. I think it was a joy. It was a joy to host such a big event. And despite, I think another strong point is all the chaos we live. right? As a developing country, all this politics around the world, all the corruption, all the bad things the Brazilian people has to go through. And football comes to a relaxed place, comes to a comfort place.
Right.
It's like, what do we have that's nice? What can we be? Connected to our identity,
Right.
which is not only the bad news that goes on the media all the time about all these problems that we can see. It's not only in Brazil.
It's universally.
Yeah. But the thing is, Brazil is so loud. Latin people, it's so loud. We say it out loud when you love. We say out loud when you hate.
It's with the Vietnamese culture.
Yes. We would say, we don't like this president. This country has so many problems. I don't like it. Well, everybody in the world knows that. Oh, these people are not happy there. Oh no, we're not. Like it's going through a path where people don't connect with that. We don't want that. Corruption, all this fight, all these things. But then we come to soccer, and that's what you said. It's a national language. It's
Yes.
universal.
It unites everybody. Yeah.
Yes, with joy.
Yeah.
Like sports, which is like something very good for your life, comes the sport, comes the connection, comes the joy, the happiness. That's why I think for Brazilian self-esteem, for us to be proud,
Yeah.
for sure, we are proud of our music. We are proud of our people.
Right.
It's such a hard work people. It's a melting pot.
Yeah.
Community, a whole country. It's a melting pot. All over the world, there's people. In Brazil from many wars before, right? That immigrated to Brazil.
What year did you come to Canada?
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Having that being such a part of your life and then coming here,
Mm-hmm.
was that still in the background for you? Like getting updates of how the standings were, like Brazilian football?
All the time. All the time. Yes. Yes. We are connected. Yeah. I can say I was more connected
Right.
than there.
Yeah. Why?
Because it's my heart, right? It's the emotional part, right? When you that's where I lived for 32 years there, and then I came here. It's like a piece of you. You bring a little bit of something. And if you are here, if there is a festival, if there is a game, you connected with this part that you left behind when you decided to immigrate, right? Because my daily life, it's not Brazil anymore.
Right.
My daily life is connected with so many things,
Yes.
right?
So can still continue that
And I can
connection.
just continue, yes, or at least to look at back and say, "Wow, that's nice. I like that."
But now, especially your
Mhm.
your partner, he was originally from Portugal and then he went to Brazil. Does he support similar teams to you, or do you guys have different interests in
Oh no, he's totally Brazilian. His teams, his soccer teams cheers for Brazil. He's very
You guys are also on a united front as a part.
united. Yes, we are.
And how, especially coming here, does he still continue that same, for you, what I'm hearing, that is a heartstring that will always connect you to Brazil because it is a piece of your culture that you want to continue to honor while here in Canada. But does your partner still feel the same way, carrying that continuity of that culture?
He does. He does. Okay, yeah, after especially we got married and then was like stronger, right?
Yeah.
Was stronger. And after we had the kids, was stronger because we want to share that piece with them.
Yeah.
We want to share with them that part. Every time we go to Brazil to see grandma, to see grandpa, to see cousins, soccer is connected. Let's go to the stadium or let's go buy a jersey.
Or do the kids, especially your son, does he support Brazil or does he have his own interests with his own team?
No, he support Brazil. And the funniest thing is he was like, okay, when he was getting exposed to that and told all the history like Juliana was talking about Santos and about Pelé. And we went to see my mom. He was like 7 years old. And that's when we have albums with stickers and we went to buy the albums, the stickers. And my daddy told him, I want to give you a jersey.
Yeah.
Which one do you want? And he said, Santos. And he's from Rio. Like, don't have no connection with Sao Paulo or Santos or whatever.
How do you know the big sense?
He said because he was listening. We were talking about, my husband was talking about, but and then my dad, why? He said because of Pelé, and he was 7 because it wasn't my daddy who said, it wasn't his daddy who said, but because he was reading and he went to Maracanã because they have a museum, he picked for himself. My daddy had to buy a jersey from Santos for him. And we were walking on the street, like Ipanema, they have some fairs, and we were walking around the city. One man comes and say, "Wow, beautiful shirt! Did you beautiful shirt?" Because the man, this is just for him to be there in Rio with the jersey from Santos. He knew. He knew what does that mean.
Yeah.
Does that mean Pelé?
Yeah.
You know? But now he grew up,
Yeah.
and then now it's not Pelé or the Santos anymore. He wants to get Flamengo. This last year when we went to Brazil, he wants to buy the Flamengo jersey.
And what is significant of that one?
Flamengo is a big team from Rio. It's
Mm.
the biggest. Most of the country,
The guess in Brazil.
biggest in Brazil. Yeah,
What about your daughter? Does she have her own?
she likes Fluminense, which is my team, my mom's team. It's big.
And her player, her go-to player?
Which one?
Does, your daughter, does she have a player preference?
She does. She does. She asked me for Christmas. I had to buy a jersey from Rafinha to her. And then when he didn't ask nothing, and then when he saw her, he wants to take her. I said, no, 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 you didn't ask, so give it to her. And they want to trade. You know what I mean? He wants to give, like, I don't know how many candies to her for her to give during a jersey to him. And I said, stop. No, if you want the jersey, we get the jersey. Don't get her candy.
Yeah.
But yes,
It's funny.
they both enjoy and like it. Yeah.
And you, Juliana, like, especially you're married to an Irish partner.
Oh.
How do you guys navigate that? Like, at least with Anna, like, there's a united front with her partner and her children, like continuity of the Brazilian culture, like the legacy being passed down. But in this case, you're navigating two different cultures.
Actually, no, David, it's like he's great because he's very into soccer, football.
Yeah.
It's even though like Ireland didn't make it a World Cup,
Yeah.
but they are actually, with surprise, they are have like that strong culture for the football. I think because the whole UK, right? Like he just followed like the English, the Premier League, the English leagues. He supports the Manchester City. Oh, he's a big fan of Man City. And we actually, when we first met, one of his first questions was like, "Which team do you support?" And I bet you support Sao Paulo. And I said, "No, not really." And then now he became like a big Palmeiras fan as well. Actually, he didn't have much option. He had to. And it's funny, even we joke about it, like when this whole World Cup thing like it started, because now we have like two options, like to just support Canada and Brazil
Yeah.
in this World Cup. And Ireland almost made it. Like they really lost like the very last game. I think like a month ago for I actually forgot one of the teams actually that's gonna play with Canada. And he was before like just worried, oh, if he Ireland made it, what are we gonna do? Like it's gonna be like here at home, it's gonna be like a three different supporters, like one supporter Brazil, another one Ireland, and then, like my son supporting Canada.
Yeah.
He was born here. And I said, that's gonna be fun. Unfortunately, when they didn't make it, I said, okay, now we have no option. Canada is so yeah, exactly. He always very into like a football. Even he always followed like all the leagues. He's a big fan like South American football, not just Pacific Brazil, but even Argentina, Uruguay. And interesting, he knew about the teams, the local teams in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he used to like do bets and stuff like for the teams in Brazil, and
Oh, wow.
always like research about it.
Yeah.
And I think mostly because there are in the English league, they have so many Brazilian players,
Oh, okay.
and that's how they get to know about like
exposure.
like how they come from, how those players, for example, like a Man City, they have like a Gabriel Jesus at that time that was like a big. He is still like quite big, but he was just new at the Man City.
Yeah.
That it was the team that he support. And coincidence, Gabriel Jesus came from Palmeiras, in Sao Paulo,
Right.
before the Man City. No, he is very into that. And it's funny now when we go visit Brazil, because as I mentioned, each state, each city has their main teams, right?
Mhm.
And then I said, let's go visit Rio. And I said, I want to see how he's the Flamengo, the Fluminense, the Vasco, the sport is there.
Yeah.
And he likes to see the culture that in Brazil, not just we mentioned football. It's kind of drive us in so many ways. And we go to the beach in Rio. You see people just enjoy themselves at the beach and playing football
Right.
at the beach. It's everything and then you are Monday nights just walking the streets in Brazil and you see the boys in the park playing
Yeah.
football. It's something constantly. It's not
But is that
just
it's like for him, was that like a continuity in some way with how the UK culture is? Because like football is a big part of the fabric of life in the UK.
yeah.
Would you say Brazilian culture in terms of football and like just being immersed in it and seeing it on the street, like when he was traveling with you, was it more on a larger scale than what he would normally have experienced in Ireland?
Yeah, definitely. But I would say even in Ireland, they usually travel a lot, to England
Yeah.
to see the games, and it seems like they are very intense to support. It's not as much as in Brazil,
Yeah.
but yeah, he definitely sees. I think for many reasons, a Brazilian population. I think kids are more dedicated, and also we have culture speaking in Brazil, for the kids, they are more dedicated, especially for more poor communities, because many kids has that idea. Oh, okay, I'm
I
gonna
could be the
just
next professional.
yeah, I want to be. This is gonna be my way to get a better
Get
life.
out of the
Yeah, I
system.
get. Yeah, exactly. They really seeing a way a bigger scale than out there. Also, I think there is the weather plays a lot
Yes,
because
yes.
they cannot be all the time outside playing
Yes.
in the UK in the rain or
Or even here in Canada,
yeah.
yeah. It's true.
And out there it's any day that it's a little bit a better it's always they are always out playing.
And now that you have a son, like, how is that both of your individual love for your own country, how's that passed down to your son?
Honestly, yeah, we are trying to, but he's just so too young,
Mhm.
right? We are trying get him into the sports and everything. We keep saying, and but he also very into Irish football. That's completely different than ours.
And
Yeah, it's a Gaelic, football. It's kind of like a mix of rugby and our football, which is
yes.
good. And sometimes he just let's get him into the Irish football, and then so at soccer,
Yeah.
football is gonna come in a way. And I said, yeah, we can put him or hurling. That's another Irish sport. And I just used to say no, he's gonna have so many options of the sports that he can choose. I really hope he get into soccer more than ever. And even I think if he can get a professional, he's gonna make way more money than the other sports for sure. But yeah, we just let him. Of course, we put him he's just very small, but we plan to get him more exposure for the sports. Now it's just for him. He's just 3 years old. It's just a play, just to have fun. It's nothing a serious. But we talking about to eventually, maybe in a couple years, start to put him a take serious. How he goes, how he takes that. But it's definitely, I think, when he starts to understand a little bit better, how big it is for both of us. Maybe, yeah, he gets more interest.
I guess we'll have to stay tuned and check in, like, when he's a little bit older and see where his choices.
Yeah. And one other thing, when we always go home, for vacation,
Mhm.
now I was just a couple months there, and he always see kids as well, playing with his cousins down there. It's again for him now, it's just he's having fun, but in a few years, probably. like he's gonna get a more exposure than
Mhm.
other kids, like for sure. When you go there, like spend a vacation and get that experience.
So my next question to Anna, what are some of the highs and lows that you've experienced on this football culture journey?
The
Like,
lows, the highs.
whether it's like as a country or like a community or your family, like what have you
I think the lows you mentioned, and I agree. It's when get to the point of the violence, or when we cannot go to somewhere because people get so excited in a bad way.
are you talking about like when the huge tournaments happen or just in general? Like any
Could be in general too. Yes, yes. When you decided to be very aggressive towards the others.
did you ever witness any of it up close?
No, not in the stadium. I would witness on the street.
Yes, I mean like
On the street. If you're with your jersey and the other team is coming with the other jersey, I think for all of us, this is a huge low. Like for all people who like soccer, we have to experience or see that or be a victim, or your family be a victim of
amazing team.
dysregulation. Yes, yes, yes. I would say that gets so uncontrollable, right? The police has to get involved. I think this is the worst. If I have to, this is the very low. I don't like to see that. I don't like to see that on video. I don't like to see it on the social media. I don't like to see on the TV because that's not the purpose of the game, or it's the opposite of everything you're talking about here. This is where people sometimes, oh, you shouldn't enjoy soccer, or you shouldn't cheer, or you shouldn't because it is so violent, so aggressive. No, 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 no. This is just a small piece or a small part of it. Not everybody who is there is willing to fight, to say my team is better than yours and I'm gonna hit you because of that. I have to show power through that. Or I get so upset that my team lose, and then I'm gonna be aggressive towards you. So I think from my point of view, this is the low,
Yeah.
right? The high would be everything we were talking.
Yeah, the culture community.
Yes, the community, this international language that bring people together, and we all have fun. We enjoy life through the lens of football. Through that would be that.
What about you, Julia? Oh, highs and lows.
I think, yeah, like hello, I would agree like 100% with Anna.
Did you experience any of it on the streets?
No, 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 not actually. But again, like the people in Brazil can take this so serious, but I have witnessed like some situations, like for example, in a corporate environment, like a work environment. Because usually many big games take place on Sundays, like in Brazil, and you go work on Sunday, and like people kind of like just making jokes that sometimes they trying like to tease, and not many people is willing to take as just as a joke and
They take it personally.
yeah, exactly, which is not nice. Yeah, like they can't like take it personally. It's not everyone, but you see like that kind of.
But I wanted to ask you because, like, we talked about like what you're experiencing from a female lens, but when you talk amongst other women, like Brazilian women, are they experiencing similar to what you guys have like, you know, do the women also go at each other over like petty like teams, or is this more like observing it more?
I would say woman.
I would say man.
Yeah, no, like a woman. I think for like as a woman, what do we more afraid? For example, I'm gonna go to a game, enjoy just my time, like I have fun, and see a game in the stadium. And again, like I mentioned before, like we are just afraid like that something happened,
Yes.
and you are in the middle of the crowd, and that happened, and how are we gonna run away out of that? You know, it's just like the whole situation, and you can sometimes get hurt like by mistake, or we don't know, yeah, by accident or something. It's not, yeah, and that's also when I mentioned like the parents has to be a little bit mindful, and but there is a thing like some parents, I'm gonna take the kids and but I'm gonna get the VIP area instead because
It's a lot
you
safer.
yeah,
They get a large crowd.
exactly. They have all these like different sections like in stadiums, and that's the problem. That the clubs in Brazil, especially like Rio and São Paulo, they are so big. They have their own kind of group of supporters that they have. This I don't know even the organization supporters, right? Like the
Yes.
clubs
Yeah.
that they have for each team, and most of this violence come from them because they come like from big tours. For example, a team from Rio, let's say like Flamengo comes to play to Sao Paulo, and then they plays with Corinthians. Those are like the two biggest clubs like in Brazil, and they're both this group of supporters, like organization supporters, like kind of I don't know, it starts to fight in the middle of the way, and then like there is no like usually always like when take place like those big games,
Yeah.
they always like I think because the whole organization know that that could happen,
Yeah.
they always like put like a lot of police like
Like
around. Yeah, exactly. To prevent those kind of things, but sometimes they are just so big that you cannot. It's hard like to predict, right?
Mm.
And then it usually happen outside
Mm.
after the games because, of course, inside the stadiums, like
It's more
they,
controlled.
yeah, it's more control. Like they always have like the measures like to take to for people not to get in like with some harmful like
Yeah.
objects or anything like that inside the stadiums. But once you get out, like how they can control, right?
Mm.
This is actually, I think, the biggest law. And high said, I think it's just like honestly, I think in Brazil, people has so many problems, and again, that's what I understand. Like, of soccer is a way for us like to get our mind out of the problems as well, especially like a World Cup, such a big event. But there are sometimes like some World Cups can be very disappointing, like the 7-1 that we didn't mention before, but yeah.
What do you hear?
Was like a half really like hurt us. Like it still hurts like when you think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's something I have to deal with. But yeah, there is one like of the lows as well. But I think that it's connected with family and everything that goes around like the football for us. How that means not just a sport,
Mhm.
it's a whole thing connected, like the family, love, the emotion, the you know.
It's beautiful that way because I
Yeah.
think it's like, that's something that is a sport. It brings people together, whether regardless of your gender, cities, like we're gonna unite for this, like you said, regardless of poverty, we're gonna unite on the same front. I guess as I'm winding down, who do you think is gonna win this year's World Cup?
Ooh,
Who would you like to win?
that's a big question, actually.
Who do you think's gonna win the Canada pool too?
Honestly, I would like to say like Brazil.
You would like Brazil to win, yeah?
Yeah, I would like to, but we gotta be realistic. I think Brazil needs a lot of work. The team that we have right now, it has been a few years actually. They're not like doing so great. Also, we faced like for the Brazil team, they faced so many changes and the president, right? Like
Mhm.
the whole club organization, everything like a change. They face some challenge, like how to push out the team. Unfortunately, I don't think Brazil is gonna make. I hope they go far because the far they
Yeah.
go, it's the better,
Yeah.
of course. We could like be surprised in a good way,
Yeah.
but I personally, I don't know. I have something like about friends, maybe, even though I don't like it. But yeah, I see like a friends like a bit like yeah,
So you think France is
yeah.
better?
I think friends.
Who do you think in the Canadian pool? Do you think Canada's gonna have a chance of winning the Canadian pool? I like how you both take a deep sigh. You're like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Maybe at least in second, I think they're gonna make it. Yeah, that's my bet. Because Canada did great at like the last World Cup. So yeah,
what about
that's
you, Anna?
No, the same as you. Like, I'm willing to Brazil to
Yeah.
do a good job. And then it's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's my word, I think. And that's why I like the game. That's why I like to watch. because at the end, like in seconds, you can change.
Yes.
You can change everything,
Yeah.
right? It's everybody has a chance. Everybody can have a great day, can have a great team at the time. It's a long game. Depends a lot of team effort. Although the coach is always the one we blame.
Yeah. Who do you think's gonna win?
I think Brazil. I will say that.
I love your enthusiasm.
I'm so optimistic today.
What about the rest of your family? What do they think is gonna win?
Okay, I'm gonna say my son because he told me the other day. He said, "Mommy, I think Spain is going."
Mhm. Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of the guests, and a lot of them are saying Spain in terms of who it's gonna come down to Spain and who they don't know.
He watches much more than me nowadays, of course, right? That's his life now as a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
He knows much more than I, and that's what he told me. I said, interesting. Let's see how it goes."
What about your husband? Like, he thinks.
He thinks Spain has a very good team too.
Yeah.
And Jules said France, he said France too. He
Go
would be
Spain, yeah.
between these two, yeah.
What about the Canada pool? Who do you think?
Ugh. Yeah, I know. I don't know. Canada, I don't really know about it.
What about your partner, Juliana? Who does he think?
Yeah, he actually said like Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be the one. I don't know. It's just weird
funny.
because the last World Cup we got surprised with some random teams like Croatia that went very far. Also Iceland, which was the first.
Two.
Yeah,
I interviewed one guest and one friend, and he said Iraq native for the first time. I was like, "Wow." He's like, "Yeah, it's unpredictable."
yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. I think we are just been very surprised like
Mhm.
by these new like countries that come to, and at this World Cup it's a different World Cup because we're gonna have way more teams, way more countries, right? And yeah,
Are you for it? Are you for that it's expanded to include more countries?
I would say yeah. Honestly, for me, the longest, the last, like I love it.
Yeah.
And see all the games.
Yeah.
I really enjoy. Yeah, it's so unpredictable. Like,
Yeah.
let's see. One thing that we used to say, like in Brazil, like I support more like these small countries to win
Yes.
like the World Cup than the other big ones that's always like well known, like
Yeah.
German, like France or Italy. We
Had the
yeah,
the World Cup.
yeah, exactly. And one thing that we always say, like in Brazil, I prefer those countries like to win the World Cup than, for example, German. Not because of stuff alone, no, but we always because Brazil is the only country that has the five like stars, like I win like won like 5 times.
Yeah.
We don't want any other country take the risk that any other country has. Yeah, except for it. At least we have like our proud like that we are the only ones.
Yeah.
It's like 5 times winners. Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's why
One of my last question is, what are your thoughts on FIFA?
today it's a big like a
Marketing.
market. Yeah, like it's a money machine for a lot of money involved, and to see the prices of tickets, it's just outrageous.
Do you agree with what Ford or our premier has done, which is only in Ontario, which is he's put a law that if you're buying the ticket, you can only resell the ticket for the value that you purchase it for. Because of that, tickets originally in for the Toronto games, the host city, were stupidly astronomical. But because of this policy, FIFA has to modify it to meet the Ontario government's new law so that they can't it be excessive. But this excessiveness doesn't apply to Vancouver because that law doesn't exist there, right? Are you for that?
Yeah, no, I think like all the cities should like take this on measure. Yeah, it's the same. Unfortunately, it's not gonna be the case. Mm.
Like your experience when you were in Brazil and the cost of the World Cup ticket, how was it as
Was like a very outrageous. I trying to get, of course, like I was hoping to get like the opening in Sao Paulo,
yeah.
and I never got it because it was absurd the
Was
price.
was like a regular game as opposed to a FIFA game in Brazil, like in Sao Paulo? How much is it going?
No, it's like a 10 times like more expensive. Yeah, I would say depending the game. Yeah, like especially talking about like a opening, like a World Cup. Yeah, it can be like a
What would you like,
way more.
and the final question, which is, what are your hopes and vision about the sports itself and or FIFA or just the World Cup? Like, what would you like to see change, and what would you like to see continue?
I think like continue about like a to include like more teams. Yeah, definitely. I think all the countries should have like the chance, like get involved because by the end of the day, I think we break a lot of barriers in terms of culture, like a stereotype that we have in other countries. We just like short like the connections with other countries and cultures. I think of the beauty is about like the World Cup,
Yep.
like get all this whole world doing
Wow,
united,
It's called World Cup for a reason.
yeah,
As
exactly.
opposed to the selected
United.
countries.
Yeah, honestly, I think like the whole thing about like the World Cup. But again, like a FIFA, I think it's just by the end of the day, you just want to see the manuals, right?
No, I agree with Ju because I think during these 4 years, right, between the World Cups, so many people are going to the stadium. You're paying the ticket. You are cheering for your team, for your league, and when it comes to the World Cup, you are excluded.
Yes.
100% excluded
Yes.
because the regular people or all this population we can't afford
Yes.
a $2,000, $3,000 ticket
It is a mass game,
for
but it's not available to the mass to run those tournaments.
Yeah. That's why I feel a little bit like confused when we say FIFA because FIFA works just for, how can I say, a client or a kind of people in the society who is not going to be
For the interest, right?
for the interest and for the ones who can pay that much. And that's not how football is, how soccer is. It's much more popular than that. Yeah, I'm sure much more people would like to have a chance to be in the stadium to watch. But because of the marketing or because of the business side, you can't. Yeah, it's not your reality, right? And then brings you back to the time when soccer came to Brazil was just the elite. Was in the 1900s. It came to Brazil for the elite. Everything and shouldn't be. And then all over this 100 years became more popular. It's a very simple game with international rules. Every place you go is the same rule. It's just one ball. There is nothing like that can be like
It's a low costing sport
it's a
too.
low costing sport.
But yeah, it's so expensive to watch.
Exactly.
Especially tournaments like this.
Exactly. Yeah. So I wish this changes in the future. The price is lower and people can have more accessible and to the games.
Yeah. Well, ladies, thank you for your time. I learned a lot.
Thank
Anna, Juliana. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected.